がここにいるうちの本物のスクールスポーツのために行こうぜベイビーバンこの国は気をつけて、現実になることがありますからね。
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and keep the long-standing tradition of covering Japanese boxing alive and well here on True School Sports. And I'm so excited for this card. I'm so excited that it makes me a little sad that I don't have more time in Japan, because I would have loved to have been at this show, but mark your calendars. February the 24th, we have 3 very notable names in Japan on this card, on this boxing show. We'll start with the main event, because I think anything this guy does from this point forward is going to always be looked at with a big microscope, because his name has now become very, very synonymous and very, very attached to Naoya Monster Inoue, which is Junto Nakatani. He's defending his WBA title against the hard-hitting Mexican contender, David Cuellar. And I didn't know a lot about Cuellar before I made this video, so I had to go watch some fights. I had to go do some homework. 28-0, 18 knockouts, and he can actually punch. He has real life punching power, real legitimate punching power. The kind of punching power where if Junto has a defensive lapse and he get caught the wrong way, this aggressive, hard-hitting southpaw Mexican may just mess around and ruin everyone's plans here in Japan. So I like this fight. I actually do like this fight. It would be very easy for me to come on here and like shit on Junto, which I'm not gonna lie, part of me wants to shit on Junto and the matchmakers for not trying to make a unification fight between Junto and one of the other 3 Japanese world champions in this weight class. But this is a good fight. So Cuellar, he hasn't fought a murderers or world fighters, but he did beat a former champion, faded version of Luis Concepcion. But he stopped him 8 rounds back in 2023, back in late 2023. That's probably like the best one on his resume. Other than that, it's a lot of cannon fodder opposition. But I don't care if you fight, 28 hot Yusu lemonade cans. If you knock out 18 hot Yusu lemonade cans, then you got some punch power, and that's the case, because a lot of fighters they know how to survive. Even if their records aren't good, they know how to survive. So he's been showing the ability to finish fighters off and do it pretty well. So I look forward to it. And plus, I know Junto beat Alexander Santiago for the titles, and he was Mexican, but I think Cuellar is a better fighter. I think Cuellar is a fresher, better fighter than Santiago. I think he presents more danger to a guy like Junto. And we've seen it so many times in boxing. Like, how many times have we seen it over the years? Like, the unknown Mexican contender just gets thrown in there as a stay busy fight and fucks up everyone's plans. It's a tale as old as time in boxing. So Junto has to stay focused. I think this will be another test of Junto learning how to box off that long, rangy frame of his, which he's been getting better at. He's been getting better at using his height and mixing up his offense and his defense to his offense. He's been very good at transitioning, being able to show that ability to defend while attacking and attack while defending. Only a few fighters can do this in boxing. He's getting better at these things, which is why I think people give him such a chance against guys like Inoue, and why people do regard him as the best bantamweight in the world. But he still has to prove it, and the only way he can get to the big unification fights at bantamweight or an Inoue fight is if he takes care of business of Cuellar. And I think Cuellar is a dangerous opponent, so I'm not going to put Junto on a major upset alert, but I'm putting him on a mild upset alert. Out of the 10, I put him on like a 2.5 upset alert, just because Cuellar is dangerous. He can punch. He's got a decent gas tank on him, and he's gonna be hungry. And I already know, with all the talk, everyone's gonna keep talking to Junto that whole fight week about Inoue and the other guys at bantamweight who are Japanese. So that's where I think he could fall victim to overlooking Cuellar, and you don't want to overlook a hungry, undefeated, power punching Mexican fighter. You don't. You really don't. So that's that fight. Good fight there, right? Also on the card, and I'm very excited about this card, because this fighter right here, when people ask me about my favorite fighters from Japan, this guy right now I would say is in my top 3 or 4. This guy is definitely my favorite bantamweight of the Japanese champions. And I just interviewed him here on True School Sports. You got the WBA bantamweight champion, Seiya Tsutsumi. Yes, pound for pound, one of the most exciting fighters in boxing and in Japan. He'll be making the first defense of his world title, and I gotta give it to him. I gotta give the handlers, the matchmakers, some respect here, because they could have picked somebody way easier for this first offense. They could have picked a can, honestly. And they didn't do that. That's not what they did. He's going to be doing a rematch. And he's going to be doing a rematch against Daigo Higa. Daigo Higa, a very, very battle-tested fighter. Daigo Higa, a fighter that in his time, he's been champion before. He was a world champion himself back when he was a flyweight, So he's looking to become a 2-division champion here. He's looking to make a name for himself. He's battle-tested. He's fought Ryosuke Nishida as well, another champion in the division. He's also fought Yoshiki Takei in his last fight, which he lost. It was a close fight, but he lost. So he's pretty much fought. Tsutsumi will actually be the third fighter that currently holds a belt in this weight class that was it the third? Wait, no, because he fought Tsutsumi, he fought Nishida, and he fought Takei. So he's fought 3 of the 4 champions already, and now they're doing a rematch. These guys fought each other in 2020 at Corkin Hall, and it was a draw. And so this is one of the 2. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I haven't watched that fight, so I don't know. I don't know if Tsutsumi. What I can tell you is I know Tsutsumi got screwed in his fight with Kazuki Nakajima. And I know that he should have won the Nakajima fight, but they gave it to Nakajima because Nakajima is an Ohashi fighter, and they just give special treatment to Ohashi fighters here in Japan. So that being said, Tsutsumi has to show consistency as a champion. He can't get the fights with Junto Nakatani or Nishida or Takei or Tenshin Nasukawa or whoever he wants to fight, whoever he has it in his heart to fight, unless he takes care of Daigo Higa. And for Daigo Higa, like, look, the way I'm looking at it for him, Higa, he's 29 years old, but if he wants to get in that power position in his career again, he needs to beat Tsutsumi. He needs to beat him, and he needs to put himself on the map, back on the map, because he's been, falling short. He's been doing a good job of looking good losing recently, and he needs to beat Tsutsumi to get the big fights against maybe some of the other guys he lost to, like Nishida or Takei. So I'm sure that'll be motivating for him. We know that Tsutsumi has an aggressive style. For me, look, guys, the fight I really want to see at bantamweight is Tsutsumi versus Nakatani, Junto Nakatani. I think Seiya Tsutsumi would actually have the best chance of the champions to beat Junto Nakatani, just because I think he's very crafty. He can box. He's very well conditioned, very crafty. I think he has the best chance of the champions to beat Junto, and I would like to see them unify. So I'm not going to make it a secret. I'm going for Seiya Tsutsumi. I like Seiya a lot too. I really enjoy my time talking to him. But this is a great fight, guys. A top upper echelon fight. So yeah, good stuff there. And then to me, the standout fight on this card to me, as good as Junto versus Cuellar is from an excitement standpoint, as much storylines as Tsutsumi versus Daigo Higa has in their rematch. To me, the story on this card, the best and most interesting fight on this card, hands down, is Tenshin Nasukawa. Tenshin Nasukawa stepping up in class again. I mean, this is a guy in Tenshin Nasukawa. We know, if you know anything about his background, top flight, upper echelon kickboxer, undefeated in MMA. Thus far, 5-0 as a professional fighter, and learning very, very quickly. I mean, he's only 2 fights removed from knocking out the very legitimate contender, Jonathan Rodriguez, who had world title aspirations. Knocked him out in 3 rounds, right? Had a win after that. And now he's stepping up in class, and he's taking on Jason Moloney. Jason Moloney, one of the best bantamweights in the world. Jason Moloney, who gave Yoshiki Takei hell in the back half of that fight. Almost got him out of there in the back half of that fight. Almost stopped him. The same Jason Moloney who has already beaten guys like Vincent Astrolabio to become champion, and had a classic fight with Saul Sanchez, and beat Joshua Greer when he was somewhat of a name in boxing at the time. The only guy that's destroyed him for real was ever Naya Inoue, right? So this is a big step up in class for Tenshin Nasukawa, only a 6-pro fight. If he beats Moloney, oh my God, then at this point, you got to look at Tenshin Nasukawa as a fighter that should be fighting for a world title. I know right now Tenshin's ranked, I think, very highly in the WBA, and I'm looking at, I think if Tenshin can come through this fight, I'm looking at him either fighting Seiya Tsutsumi next if he wins this fight, or Yoshiki Takei, because then Takei versus Tenshin will be interesting for the Japanese, because Takei and Tenshin were both, kickboxers, top kickboxers who are now making noise in boxing. So, to me, hands down the best fight on the card. Moloney is one of the best bantamweights in the world at the world level. He's proven it time and time again. And for him, I'll tell you right now, it would be a massive statement for Moloney to go out here and beat the brakes off of Nasukawa. Nasukawa is very popular here in Japan. He's seeming to get better and better as each fight progresses. If he's able to beat Nasukawa, all of a sudden you look at Moloney now as a guy that will deserve a chance to fight for a world title. Maybe he winds up fighting Yoshiki Takei again in a rematch, or gets a Junto fight. I know Seiya Tsutsumi and the Moloney have been training partners. They're really good friends. I'm not sure if that's a fight that Tsutsumi would be open to, but they know each other very well from the gym. Maybe Tsutsumi versus Moloney wants to become a fight in the division if Moloney gets to this fight. But for me, it's like this is an ultimate crossroads fight. It kind of reminds me of, like, I've been watching a lot of Hajime no Ippo, the famous boxing anime. You know, been watching a lot of it recently. And it's like when Ippo fought Dante. Dante was this old fighter who had to beat Ippo to fight for the world title, right? But Ippo was the young upstart, fighter that it had. If he could beat a guy like Dante, he would go on to fight for the world title. And then if you guys watch the show, Dante winds up beating Hajime no Ippo, beats Ippo in the fight, in a hotly contested fight. With the late body stoppage, and he uses experience, his veteran know-how to get into Ippo's head and make him doubt himself. So this is kind of like that in real life. Moloney, 33 years old, he needs to fight for the world title. He is the Dante in this situation, all right? And Tenshin is the Ippo in the situation. He is Ippo. He is trying to fight for the world title and prove that he belongs. And he can't do that if he doesn't beat this old warhorse in the 33-year-old Moloney. So this is, to me, the statement fight on the card. Junto was cool. Love Seiya Tsutsumi. But Tenshin versus Moloney is, from an unbiased boxing perspective, the best fight on the card. You gotta give Tenshin a lot of respect for taking the fight. 6 fights in, he could easily be fighting somebody worse than Moloney. But this is showing that he believes in himself and his skills, and he's really been putting that work in. We're going to see if he's good enough. And that's what gets me excited about this fight, is now we get to really see if Tenshin Nasukawa belongs in that world-class level, because you're now fighting a guy who has been a world champion, and a legitimate one who's defended the title as well, and been in good fights and beat top contenders. So that's my thoughts on the February 24th card here in Japan. I'm very sad that I will not be here in Japan by the time this happened. I wish I could have been at this fight. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you click right over here.